Hello, folks. Oh, Tuesday morning in the United States, Tuesday afternoon here in Sweden, and Wednesday in Korea. Is it? Yeah, it should be. Or is it? I don't know. Wednesday in Australia, maybe. Welcome back to day 2 of the Marisela Botello murder trial. Yesterday, I told you this is a weird case and even weirder trial. I told you warned. And it didn't disappoint at the same time. I mean, one of the questions from the defense yesterday got stuck in my mind. They asked the bone person, the person who looked at the bones and found no damages. They actually asked, the bones that are missing, were they missing before death? Yeah, I'm amazed. This also stuck with me because I saw a similar comment. I think it was from Anastasia as well. I don't even understand why half the co-workers' testimony got during the first day's testimony. A lot of it seemed like hearsay offered for the truth of the matter asserted, and no objections. Yeah, that was strange. That was strange how much she was allowed to talk about what the defendant in this case supposedly told her. But as I said, this case is strange, and the trial is even stranger. Yeah, I have no answer to you, Anastasia. I honestly have no answer. Good morning, Haley, and good morning, Erin, and Jack Matt, and Mike L, and Peggy, and all of y'all. And what else was... Yeah, the coroner. One of the final questions to her was her determination it was death due to homicidal violence. But she also testified there were no trauma to the remains, which tells me that her conclusion is because that was what other parts of this investigation concluded or asserted or alleged. And for me, that is taking away from the jury their right to be the fact finder. That's what they are there for. So when she says homicidal violence, then I'm not happy about that. Do I still believe that this trial will show enough evidence for beyond reasonable doubt? I hope so. As I said yesterday, I have not seen a second of this trial. I've heard a bit from others, and stuff that happens later on in this trial is wild to me. And also, that is the only basis for charging this woman for the murder, that the wannabe rapper said so. That seems to be the case. But the prosecution also says that there are corroborating evidence to his story. Now, the defense says it isn't, but we will see later on, because a lot of there's a lot of testimony left in this trial. So yeah, and it will be really, really interesting to see what will happen later on. And I will repeat something from yesterday that if you are a returning viewer, you all know Gigi, my first and best moderator. She's been with me my entire run as a streamer, as a law tuber. She's been there almost every day. And a while ago, she got severely ill. And that caused her economy to be in the gutter. She didn't know I'm doing this. She found out yesterday. But everything that gets donated to me via my PayPal, which is on top of my chat on YouTube, I will post it in the chat on Rumble, and you will also find the link in the description below. Everything that comes in there during this week, during this trial, I will transfer to her, so she can get a decent Christmas and maybe pay off some of the bills that accumulated. For you who live in the United States, you know that if you get a lengthy illness, your economy shut. I mean, really, it's so bad. And bills might not get paid, and the interest keeps piling up. So anything I can send to her, and I've sent her myself some, just so she can take care of some of the bills and have a decent Christmas. So if you have anything to spare, a buck, 5, 10, 20, I use PayPal, and I will make sure she gets it to her PayPal. Now, why can't you go directly to her? Well, because PayPal, then she docks herself, and I don't want her to. That hence via me to her, and by the end of the week, I will make full receipts from what I got in and show you that it was sent to her. So that is my Christmas wish, so to speak. Okay, day 2. We will go on for 2 hours. Then it's Yodi Day. And you who are regulars knows every Tuesday, every Saturday, me and Dave over at Making Law Simple Network are doing an hour on Tuesdays and 2 hours on Saturdays on the Yodi Aries trial. And today we are at day 27, which is still redirect from the defense when Jodi Arias is on the stand, and she's not doing well. And it's cringe, and it's bad, and every trace of smile on Jodi Arias' face disappeared on day 26. Even day 25 during the cross-examination, which was a slaughter of Jodi Arias' credibility. Totally not a Russian bot. Yeah, let's get back to the trial you're actually here for. 0 marks on the bones on a stabbing death only claimed by a failed rapper is sus to me. I agree. I mean, the way they spoke about it during opening statement, I mean, stabby in the back, neck, and I mean, there should be marks. Should be. And for me, 0 marks. I mean, for instance, let me show you. No. If you do a stabbing motion, you do it with a blade like this. Now, it could have been a really small blade. I don't know. I don't care. But if there's no mark, then Are they supposing they did this? But still, it doesn't make sense. But not. There were a lot of parts of Miss Botello's body that wasn't recovered. But yeah, I agree. It's sus. It's sus. Okay, enough of that. This is day 2. We will go at 1.25 speed. Hope sound is decent today as well. But here we are. And hold on while I bump there. And you all want to see Mr. Jingles in his Viking hat and suit. Mr. Jingles Viking Thugs, that is the gang we are all in. All hail Mr. Jingles. All right. Let's go on with day 2 of the Marisela Botello murder trial. Let's go!
Jury, I apologize for the delay. You all may be seated. Been on the phone a lot this morning trying to get this whole AC thing straightened out. It's a lot cooler in the courtroom. They had that huge AC unit that you saw. Of course, that doesn't work because we can't have that door open because probation's right across the hall and they're seeing people all day. Okay. So that's their smallest unit. For other reasons, the AC is down, which I will. So what we're going to do is bring
let
that
me know if
back
sound
courtroom
is
during
decent.
lunch and have it run on
You in
lunch.
chat.
Hopefully that will cool off the courtroom a lot. And then take a longer break in the afternoon if it gets really hot. Now Friday is supposed to be 80 degrees in Dallas, so it's going to be really hot in the courtroom. So I suggest layers.
Or is it just the judge who can't find the microphone? Microphone as well.
All right. Thank you for your patience. Ms. Pittman, please call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. State calls Kathleen de Leon.
All right, let's see
All right,
who the first witness of the day is.
Witness stand and raise your right hand. Ma'am, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I
You
do.
may be seated. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, can you just state your name and spell your name for the court, please?
My name is Kathy de Leon, Kathydde, capital Leon.
And Ms. de Leon, can you just tell the jury a little bit about what you do for a living? And, a little bit about yourself.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a hairdresser. I've been doing hair for probably over 35 years. Color specialist. I actually do people from all walks of life. I've done attorneys, I've done doctors, dentists, anywhere from A to Z. I may have a preacher's wife in my chair, and then I may turn around and have a stripper in my chair. So, the facets that I go through in my business is, it's quite amazing. So.
You said you've been doing this for about 30 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it fair to say that when you have a client that you have seen over the course of several years, that client generally becomes pretty comfortable talking to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I would hate for my hairdresser to ever be called to talk about me or anything else like that. You kind of get all the secrets and all the things.
I do. People are very kind of interesting. They're very open when they come to see you. It's kind of like we're their psychiatrist, They really lean on us for a lot. They do tell us a lot of things that they may not even tell their family. So, most of the things that my clients tell me, I do, kind of take it, it's a very personal thing to me. I'm very close to my clients. I've been doing a lot of clients for as long as I've.
Here's the thing. Even as a hairdresser, all the information, how is this not hearsay? Everything she has to say. Well, don't know. We'll have to listen to her first.
I've been doing hair. So, I do have clients who are like family to me. I don't really take my stories home. I'm sure it gets very boring to my husband to hear, like all the different stories that a client may tell me.
Now, one of those clients that you saw through years was Miss Lisa Dykes. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall when you started seeing Miss Dykes?
Early 2016.
And she was referred to you by another client, is that correct?
Yes, she was referred to me by a longtime client of mine who worked in the same building she did. I believe they worked on the same floor. And they became, I guess they were acquaintances. They'd see each other like, like on the floor and say hi and whatnot. And Lisa inquired to her. She said, your hair always looks amazing. Who do you go to? So she gave her my information. She says, well, she may be far for you to go. And so she asked where I worked. And she was like, oh my gosh, I live right by there. If you can give me her number, I'd love to get in contact with her. So.
And you started seeing her, you said in 2016, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And this morning you provided me with a couple of just printouts of schedules, because you all had kind of a scheduling system on the computer, is that right?
Yes.
Here are my approach to witness. Ms. DeLeon, I'm just going to hand you what's been marked States Exhibits 81 and 82. Does this look like a fair and accurate representation of those two printouts that you sent me this morning?
It is.
Your Honor, statement to offer 81 and 82 for all purposes.
You can tender your voting card. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm going to object first on relevance, and second, I'm objecting. You can't tell on here who the client is. I don't see who the client is. I see a list of dates, but I don't see the client.
Your objection is relevant? The standard this time is relevant, if you would like, right now. She has one of your exhibits, I believe. That's a copy.
I'm sorry, sir?
Are those her copies?
No, she's got her copy. Okay. These are. And Ms. DeLeon, Ms. Dykes' name is not on here, but are you aware you pulled this from your computer?
Yeah, so the way we had the computer set up at work, it would go through we would punch in our client's name, and then it'd go to a second page, and it would have a list of all the services that we would do to that particular client, and that's what you see there.
And one of the purposes of this is going to kind of help you refresh your recollection of the various conversations you had with Ms. Dykes over the years.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would offer states 81 and 82 again for all purposes.
Same objection, Your Honor, relevance. If she needs it to refresh her memory, then at that time, the document can be presented to her. But until we see that there's some faulty memory going on, then.
I don't necessarily need to have it.
Hold on. You have to wait for someone to ask you a question. Thank you.
Judge, we can just offer it for regular purposes. At this time.
All right, is there any objection to being offered for record purposes?
No, Your Honor.
All right, States Exhibits 81 and 82 are admitted for record purposes only at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. DeLeon, you just mentioned that you probably don't need it. If for any reason you need to refresh your recollection, just let me know and I can present that to you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So we talked about you met in 2006. She was referred to you by one of your clients. And when you first met her and did her hair the first time, was she pleased with her service?
She was.
In fact, she continued seeing you until she moved from the Dallas area in, I believe, October of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
When do you recall was the last appointment that you had where she actually came and saw you?
I agree.
October
I have
10,
no idea
2002.
why they called her a hairdresser.
2?
2000, yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you say 2020 or 2020 or 2022? I may have misheard you.
All I know, it was
Yeah.
right when this girl went missing was the last time that I saw her.
Okay, so that was in 2020.
Yes,
Okay, sorry. Are you a little bit nervous?
just a little bit.
Okay. Now, when you first saw Ms. Dykes as a client, how did she present herself? How was she dressed?
She was dressed
How
very
is this
conservatively.
even
She
remotely
was an
relevant?
attorney in Dallas. She had long hair. At the time I started doing it, was just like highlights in her hair. Very nice person. We got along really well. So
And did you learn a little bit about her family makeup at that time?
I did. She talked about her kids quite a bit. She had grown kids, a son. She had family that lived in Florida. She had her daughter Chelsea, who ended up also being a client of mine. I actually started doing Lisa first, and then soon after she would bring Chelsea with her, and then I started doing both of their hair. So they come in at the same time.
And you mentioned she had some family in Florida, and then she had Chelsea and her son here in Texas with her.
Yes.
Okay. And were you? Did you learn that they lived in the Mesquite area?
I wasn't sure where Kyle lived, but from what I understand, Chelsea lived with her.
Okay. And you mentioned Kyle. Kyle's one of her sons. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did she ever talk about her other son?
Not often.
Okay. Did you know whether or not her other son, Aaron, lived with her?
I know she really didn't mention him as often as she did Kyle.
Okay. And as far as Kyle's concerned, did you have any idea whether or not Kyle lived with her?
I did not.
Okay, but Chelsea did live with her.
She did, from what I understand.
Okay. Did she ever talk about her brother Jimmy?
If it's the brother that lived in Florida, then she probably maybe mentioned it in a conversation or two, but not very often.
Not very often. Okay.
No.
And
Hearsay. All the objections.
in the beginning, you said that she generally dressed very conservatively.
Yeah, when she'd come in to see me, it was usually on a Saturday. So she always, dressed like casual, pretty much.
Did she have revealing clothes? Did it kind of, and I hate to be like this, but almost age appropriate for her at that time? Or kind of just describe the type of conservative clothes that she wore.
Well, she'd usually come in jeans. She'd always wear, t-shirts when she'd come in. She kind of like concert-y type t-shirts. So, but I mean, most people dress like that on Saturday. So, it wasn't.
I'm sorry. You mentioned her daughter Chelsea would come and have her hair done as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And did they seem like they were very close?
They were. Chelsea was quiet. I would say introverted. She was a real sweet girl. Didn't talk very much. I think the only time that I could really get her to engage was when she would talk about her dog. But other than that, she really was pretty quiet.
Karen, may I approach the witness again? You may. And permission to continue approach throughout her testimony.
Sure.
Ms. De Leon, I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit 83. Do you recognize that photo?
That's Lisa and Chelsea.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Our state offer states 83 for all purposes.
Yeah, but I know that this, but how
United States
can
Exhibit
they prove?
83 is admitted for all purposes.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may.
How can they actually prove they can say, oh, she was there, she had an appointment. Okay, show a receipt. Did she actually show up? Did she say this, or is this woman remembering things? Human memory is flawed in every sense of that word. And I mean, nothing against hairdressers, but
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Oh, there we go.
you meet clients all the time.
And
hairdressers.
just,
How,
I mean, this is just a picture
Yeah,
of them.
let's just
around the
listen
time
to
that you were doing both of their hairs.
Yes,
Was this, you learned at some point that Chelsea moved from Texas, is that correct?
I did.
Okay, is this closer to the time frame when she moved, or do you recall?
Well, I had already, probably because Lisa's hair is really short there. So
And let's kind of talk about that. Over the course, this started, your client relationship with her started in 2016. Was there a time over the course of that relationship that she started talking about a man by the name of Charles Beltran?
yes.
And do you recall about what year that was?
guessing maybe 2018-ish.
2018-ish?
Mhm.
And that's just kind of a guess.
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you how she and Charles met?
She came in one morning and basically said that she had met a guy named Chuck. He, the first couple of times that she talked about him, she kind of mentioned kind of laughingly like it was her boy toy. And then after a couple of visits, she continued talking about him. And so I was like, hey, so what is the deal with this guy? Tell me about him. I was like, you don't, she's talked about other guys in the past, but, just kind of like, I'm going out with this person or that person, but it was never like anything, like more than like a time or two that she talked about that person. But with Chuck, she talked about him for, several visits. So I finally asked her, I was like, so tell me about this guy. And she was like, well, he's a lot younger than I am. He works with my son. And I was like, well, Lisa, I was like, that doesn't seem, like kind of like what you're used to dating, a much younger guy, someone who, not to say that, someone who works at a bar is like less than anyone else, but, I just kind of expected her to date someone more on her, I guess, like level, I guess.
Okay, so more like her.
Yes.
A professional.
Yes.
Maybe more in her age range.
Right.
And the description of Chuck was that he was a much younger man, and she had met him through her son, where he worked at this bar. Is that
correct?
Yeah,
right?
reliability
Okay.
and
She talked about him
relevance.
frequently. Is that correct?
I mean,
She did.
It seems
seriously?
like she really liked him.
Yes.
Okay. It seemed like she was pretty infatuated with him.
Yes.
And
So
you kind
she
of
had a
mentioned that
boyfriend.
you kind of thought that
Ah,
would be odd.
fucking dog.
Yes, I mean, when she met Chuck, she kind of started changing. She came in one day and, of course she had like longer blonde hair, always did highlights in her hair. And she comes in one day and she's like, hey, I'm ready to do something completely different. And I was like, okay, well, to most hairdressers, doing something different is like, we're gonna put some low lights in their hair, But she wanted me to completely shave the sides of her head and do like a pompadour. So if y'all don't know what a pompadour is, it's basically shaved all around the sides. You have the top that's longer, quite a bit longer. And you can either pull it all back, you can like wear it to the side, which it kind of looks like the picture that you just saw. She had it kind of just down and it was just to the side. But when she was at work, she always just kind of like wore it like up, to where it just looked like.
How do you know how she wore it to
There
work?
are other pictures of her where she has it more like in a pompadour. But I asked her, I was like, how are you going to get away with that at work? I mean, that seems a little inappropriate to do that. She was like, oh, it's okay, it'll be fine. So I thought that was like really interesting that she would go from like wearing this beautiful long blonde hair to, almost having no hair at all.
Did she also have it colored in a different way?
Yes. So when I ended up doing the pompadour on her, she ended up going complete platinum at that time. So, and then occasionally she would, like get a wild hair, no pun intended, but she would like want me to do like maybe a little streak of like a light pink or like a baby blue, but never anything like just outrageously crazy,
And when you, this all kind of aligned when she started hanging out and talking about Chuck, is that correct?
Yes.
During that time period, did you know that Chelsea still lived with her?
Yes.
Okay. And also her son Aaron, is that correct? Or,
I'm not sure about Aaron.
Okay, but
She really didn't talk about him too often.
okay. You definitely knew that Chelsea still lived.
I did.
Now, did she start dressing differently?
She did.
How did she start dressing?
So when she ended up with Chuck, she started getting a lot of tattoos. When she'd come in, she would start one sleeve, and then I'd see her like several visits later, and she'd start another sleeve. And I would always ask her, "Why are you doing this? How are you going to get away with this at work? I mean, you've got a conservative job."
You wear a shirt with cufflinks that hides. I mean, unless I'm doing this, you can't tell. or if I'm wearing a t-shirt, you can tell. If you saw me in a professional setting with my hair slicked back in a ponytail, you couldn't tell I have a bunch of tattoos. Because I'm often in a suit. I mean, seriously? The fuck? Yeah, I mean, what's the point of this witness at all? She had a boyfriend. She told me about him. We know that. You have no idea how many high-profile people, lawyers, judges, some are covered in tattoos, but you can't tell because it's below the neck, up the arm. Let me show you something. Da-da-da. This, know who this is? This is King Frederick the Ninth of Denmark. He liked to show it off, but he could cover everything up. Now this, he at the end of his life, he had a lot more tattoos. This is the former king of Denmark. So what the frick does a woman in her... I mean, some women, once they hit middle age, they get a boy toy and they get tattoos. So fucking what? So... Let's go back to the trial.
You know, and she was just like, oh, well, you know, I could just wear long sleeves, you know. She did start dressing, like she loved showing her tattoos off. So she would always come in like with like,
yeah, into the hairdresser.
Like inner t-shirty material type shirts. They were always short sleeve because she loved showing her tattoos off. So even if it was like really cold outside, she'd wear a jacket in, but then she'd always take her jacket off. She loved her tattoos. And, you know, I mean, I'm not into tattoos, but, you know, to each his own. I know one day she came in and she kind of grabbed me by the arm. She was like, hey, come to the bathroom with me. I want to show you something. And I was like, okay. So she kind of lifts up the back of her shirt and she's got a tattoo.
Murder, hiding corpse, desecrating corpse, stuff like that is on the menu in this trial.
You know, and I was like, oh my God, Lisa, what are you doing? I mean,
Where was this particular tattoo?
on her back,
On her back. Okay. Was it large?
from what I recall.
So we're not talking about just a little,
She had a tramp
No.
tattoo. We're talking about full sleeves.
Yes.
Large tattoos on her back, and this just from your time in being
Yes.
her hairdresser.
Yes. And then she also,
just make sure that we don't talk over each other.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. She just has to take everything down. She can't fix it at the same time. But completely out of what you expected based on your experience with her.
Yes. She also, come to think about it, came in one day and she had these little gold, they're like little dots, like across the top of her, but they were like on her teeth. And I was like, what is that? And she was like, you know, she just kind of laughed. She goes, well, don't you like it? And I was like, well, no, not really, you know, but, you know, I mean, I just thought that it was all very odd that she, and I guess it was to impress him. I mean, he was a much younger guy.
Objection, Your Honor, calling for speculation and asking the court to instruct the jury to disregard the last statement.
Sustained, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are instructed to disregard the last answer by the witness and not consider it for any purpose whatsoever.
And Ms. De Leon, all of this started after she met Chuck, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now,
So fucking what? So fucking what?
do you recall a time, kind of during this time period when she's changing her hair, and she's changing, kind of getting these tattoos, that she came in to an appointment with Chelsea?
Yes, ma'am.
And
This testimony is for the sole purpose of painting the defendant in a bad light. That's the sole purpose. Oh, look, she got a boy toy. Oh, look, she got a new hairstyle. Oh, look, she got tattoos.
were the two of them both having their hair done?
They were.
And kind of tell me a little bit about, that appointment that day. You said that Chelsea was quiet. Did she say much that day?
Not really. I mean, this day, I actually did Chelsea's hair first. I typically would always do Lisa's hair because it took a little bit longer for me to do her hair. But this particular day, I ended up doing Chelsea first, and the area that I worked in, it was like my chair was here, my client sat here, my mirror was here, and then I had a dryer that was right behind me. So it's like my clients had access, so I did do a lot of highlights. So I had access to a dryer that sat right behind me. So I finished doing Chelsea's hair, got her into the dryer, started doing Lisa's hair, and
let me just stop you right there. So Chelsea is within earshot of this conversation.
yes, I mean, literally she's like 2 steps back.
Okay. And what did Lisa say to you?
So
Within earshot means absolutely nothing. Once in a while, I go with my girlfriend when she has some appointments, either massage or hairdresser or something, because she does her thing, I do my thing, we go out to eat. I can't remember jack shit about her conversations with her hairdresser because I don't care. I'm back there in a seat, flipping through my phone, doing something, and then we are off to eat. What the fuck is going on? Hi, Yvette. Hi, everybody. Yeah, Flux has amazing hair. And yeah. Salon conversation is not my highlight of my day. No. I can't even remember when I go to the barber what conversations I have with the barber. Because question, answer, how's your day? What about this? How's the weather? I don't care. Trim the tip on my hair. Or usually it's trim the beard. Because what the fuck is she doing on the stand? How is this remotely relevant? Except painting the defendant in a bad light. I would assume being involved in the disappearance of a girl more than half her age is enough. And where's the solid evidence? Actual evidence. The blood. The DNA. Because we already know Marisela disappeared while in company with the dude. The boy toy. The failed rapper. We already know that. Her testimony here, I don't care. Not even remotely relevant. Just a waste of my time. And that tells me that the prosecution's case, when the prosecution brings in witnesses like this for the sole purpose of painting the defendant in a bad light, case is bad. It's weak. Hi, Dave. Good to see you here.
As we started talking, she kind of looks back at Chelsea. She goes, "Hey, Chelsea," she goes, "Do you want to tell Kat the news or do you want me to?" And, she just kind of looked at the driver. She goes, "Well, I guess you can." And so Lisa,
What was the news?
Lisa proceeds to tell me that Chelsea's moving to Florida. And I was like, "What?" I was like, you and Chelsea are so close. And I was like, "Why?" And she says, "Well," she goes, "I'm ready to live the life that I want, and I can't do it with her here."
And she said that in front of Chelsea,
Yes,
and Chelsea heard her.
she did.
Prove it.
Did she
Prove
tell you
it.
where,
Pictures.
where Chelsea was going to move?
She was moving to Florida, where Lisa's brother was.
Now, you said that,
Yeah, this prosecution is now doing a Jodi Arias, Amber Heard kind of thing. Lots of irrelevant details to bolster a weak case. So far, they might have amazing actual evidence later on, but this kind of bullshit tells me not so good after all.
she told Chelsea, or tell you that I'm ready to live the life that I want to live, and I can't do it with her here.
How is this not
Did you
hearsay?
say anything else?
Yeah, she just went on to tell me that, because I was like just so shocked about it. And she went on to tell me, she said, "Well, Chelsea worked at, I don't know if it's like Disney World, Disneyland, I don't know what it is, in Florida. But she said she has friends there. She really doesn't have friends here. So to go back, to be where her friends are, it'd probably be better for her anyway." I just still thought that it was very strange because, she and Chelsea always seemed to be like so close. I can't imagine that she would, like literally like move her to start living this new life with this guy, Chuck.
At that time, did you learn that Chuck was going to move in with her?
Yeah, she did. She actually told me, several visits later that Chuck was going to move in with her.
And did you learn that she was, buying Chuck things? Paying for things?
Yeah, so after she moved him in, she came in one day and told me that she was buying him a lot of equipment because he wanted to become a rapper. So, and from what she told me, it was like high dollar equipment. And I do recall seeing it there when I went to her house one day. It was like in her little sunroom area.
And when she initially talked about Chuck, did she talk at all about his rap career, or was it later when you learned that she had bought him this equipment?
I really didn't know until she told me about the equipment.
Irrelevant,
he was
bull crap.
going to become a rapper.
The fuck?
So initially it just seemed like this was a romantic situation for her.
Yes.
And, what did you think about this change in Lisa and this new young guy and buying the rap equipment?
It's none of a fucking
I just thought it was so
business. She's a
odd,
hairdresser.
because, we're talking, it was just like 2016. She was a completely different person, she's just like more.
Wherever she works, know this. She will tell everybody anything you tell her. The fuck? Not even remotely relevant. Not even remotely relevant. She had a boy toy. We know that. She changed her hairstyle. A lot of women do when they reach middle age. A lot of women do. A lot of women get tattoos because, hey, I have some economic freedom. This is, in my opinion, this is the sole reason she's there is to paint the defendant in a bad light. Oh, look at her. She made choices you won't do. Boo. They are objecting. They have a standing objection. They object every now and then. But everything so far is allowed in. except, I mean, overly obvious hearsay.
Into somebody that, it's just, I don't know, it's just so bizarre. The whole time though,
Objection, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you have to wait until you're asked a question.
And sorry about the pause. Ms. De Leon, I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit 84. Do you recognize all these photographs?
yes,
And these are photographs you provided me.
yes, ma'am,
Are these fair and accurate representations of Ms. Dykes?
yes,
Your Honor, State moves to admit State's 84 for all purposes. Tendering to defense counsel.
And here's the thing, I liked this prosecutor's opening statement. I really did. And I hated the defense opening statement because it was all banging the table. But I'm confused. Why? If I would make a prediction, I'm not sure the defendant is the actual perpetrator of everything, at least not beyond a reasonable doubt. Maybe not even 50-50. Because the only person who was actually seen with the victim was Chuck. And Chuck changed his story over and over and over and over again. Now, the defendant and her wife, yes, they fled to Cambodia. That's really bad. And everything around it is very, very bad. But seriously, what? Yeah, and I had no idea Chuck was a failed rapper. And one of the good things, the testimony yesterday from the coworker to Miss Dykes that listened to this rapper, and out of her mouth came, "I don't see how anyone can invest in that." I mean, that guy has to be packing something, because rapping, apparently not.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit, excuse me, number 84 is admitted for all purposes.
Commissioner Beltran. Ms. De Leon, is this kind of the, I guess, transition that you were talking about, or the big change in Ms. Dykes, where this is more around 2016?
yes,
And this is more around kind of the end time that you all had this client relationship?
yes, ma'am,
Okay. And obviously the makeup here is very muted, long hair, like you mentioned, conservative dress, and over the course of these several pictures,
So,
you see, kind of
this
side
is
makeup, more dramatic
the only
makeup,
reason is to
tattoos,
paint defendant in a bad light.
different clothing styles.
yes, ma'am.
Now, this particular picture here, do you recall when that was taken?
Which one?
This one.
The
right here.
hairdresser, if you are a client of hers,
I don't quite recall, but that is like during the time that her hair was like.
this hairdresser, talk with caution, because, yeah, that's Gossip Central.
Obviously shown.
And this transition kind of started in 2016 and it continued throughout. You mentioned that she had started talking about Chuck, buying him things. He had moved in after Chelsea left.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a time that she started talking about a woman by the name of Nina Morano?
Hey,
Yes,
Okay, and who was
I see Baker sent people over. Hello, folks. Welcome to a shit show of magnitude. Shit show of magnitude. And I told you, everybody. I told you. This is a strange case, an even stranger trial. This hairdresser is on the stand talking stuff. Nothing is even remotely relevant She tells the jury, oh, look, from 2016 to 2020, my client changed her hair and got tattoos. So fucking what? So fuck. Yeah, this hairdresser, who, if any client of hers, talk with caution, because she will tell, in my opinion, that this is gossip central, and I don't understand, one, why she's here, two, why she's allowed to be a witness in this trial. No, we are not 2 hours into this stream. I don't give a fuck. We are 50 minutes in. I might get demonetized. This stream is probably getting demonetized. So use the PayPal. Yeah. For fuck's sake. Yeah, I'm sorry, Brandon, but this is infuriating. This is so infuriating. I will try to cut down on cussing. It's not for everybody, I know. But this is such bullshit. Let's keep listening to her.
Who was Nina Morano?
She initially had an appointment with me and asked if I could do her like a week earlier. She was going to be going out of town to visit an old friend of hers.
Your Honor, I'm gonna object, non-responsive. Counsel asked what or who she was, and Mrs. Daly was going into a monologue.
Sustained.
Thank you.
How did you learn about Nina Morano?
Through Lisa just mentioning her.
Okay. And you said you had an appointment with her, and she changed that appointment. What was the reason she changed that appointment?
She was going to go out of town to see Nina.
And at that
Right.
time, how did
Thank
she,
you.
I guess, categorize Nina?
An old friend of hers.
Do you recall about what time frame, maybe month and year, that she started mentioning Nina?
Phrasing.
It was probably before October 2019, and I do recall that because I had Lisa had asked me to do her makeup for a Halloween party
Okay.
that she was having at work.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. Did you usually do her makeup?
I never did her makeup.
And you said in October 2019, she asked you to do a Halloween makeup for a party. Is that
She
correct?
did.
And did you do that in your
Thank you for the raid,
studio, or did you go to her house?
I sent you an invite.
Initially, when she called and asked me to do it, I told her then, I said, look, it's been a long time since I've done theatrical makeup. And she says, look, I don't want anyone else touching me but you. She says, I trust you.
How is this not hearsay? I mean, party opponent and everything. But for all we know, she's making all this crap up. I have no idea why well, I do have an idea why they are calling this witness. And in my opinion, she's here for the sole reason to paint the defendant in a bad light. Ooh, she had a boy toy. Ooh, she cut her hair differently. Ooh, she got tattoos. So what? So what?
And she, was very adamant about me doing it. So I told her, I said, look, this is what we're going to do. Send me a picture of what you want. You buy the makeup because I don't have makeup for stuff like that. And let's make an appointment. I'll do like a mock trial. And if you don't like it, then I'll help you find someone that will do it for you.
So you went to her house to do this mock trial?
No, initially we did that at the salon.
Okay.
And then when she saw what the results were, she actually ended up loving it. And then she wanted to make the appointment for me to do the makeup the day of the party that I guess it was her law firm that was hosting this party. And so she wanted to do it like around 6 o'clock. And I told her, I was like, well, we close at 5. She says, well, why don't you just come to my house? So we made arrangements to do that.
And Ms. De Leon, I'm handing you, Ms. Mark States Exhibit 85. Is that a picture of you applying for makeup?
This was the mock trial that I did at work.
Okay.
Yes.
Your Honor, State Officer States 85 for all purposes.
She got a Halloween makeup.
All right, so
What
exhibit
does this
85
have
is
to do with the
And you
actual
said this
murder
trial
you
run,
accuse her of?
Was this
What?
pretty much the same
What?
makeup that you did for her for the party?
Yes, ma'am.
And that appears to kind of be a skeleton face, is that correct?
How? This only tells me the weakness of the state's case when they put her hairdresser on the stand to tell the jury, oh, she changed. And she's been on the stand for half an hour now. And nothing has anything to do what she's accused of in this trial. Nothing.
When she initially showed me what she wanted me to do, I'm not really sure of the name of it, but it's like Day of the
Is it the Day of the Dead?
Dead. But it's the woman who wears like the big roses. But I didn't know that it was gonna be like, I thought it was gonna be like a pretty Day of the Dead. I didn't think it was gonna be like, like a skeleton. But.
Okay. So I do want to talk about your visit to her house. Were you able to meet Mr. Beltran when you went to her house?
That was the first time that I met Chuck. He was the one that opened the door.
And just based on physical appearances, kind of what did Chuck look like?
He was young. He wore the gauges in his ears. He was tattooed up. Nice guy though. I mean, when he answered or when he opened the door, he introduced himself that he was Chuck. And I introduced myself. He says, I know all about you. He said, you're the end all be all with Lisa. There's no one better than you in her book. And so I was like, well, thanks. Where's she at? So
that it was a brief discussion and a brief talk with Chuck.
it was.
He was nice, respectful.
Yes.
Based on, I guess, his tattoos and everything, did you expect him to sound and talk differently?
Kind of, but I mean, he was pleasant enough.
Now, after doing the
Get
makeup
that
for
thumbs
the
up.
party,
I
you
deserve
said
it.
this was a work party, is that correct?
It was.
And was this going to take place at her son's bar? Or
I
not?
believe so.
Makeup turned out well. Was she happy with it?
She was very happy with it.
After that, you had another appointment with her, is that correct?
Are you referring to the second time I went to her house? or-
No, I'm talking about when she started talking.
I'm not a makeup person, but I guess she has a fireplace and then she has 2 fistfuls of coals, gets her eyes wide open, and then I don't know. She does have good hair, and I assume most of it isn't her actual hair.
Talking about Nina.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And so this appointment was October 2019, and then it was after that appointment that she started discussing Nina, is that correct?
Yes.
And the first time she discussed her, it was, she's my friend and she was going to see her.
Yes.
Is that fair? In the coming appointments, did you have more discussions with her about Nina?
Yeah, it ended up being that that after she mentioned Nina the first time, the next visits that I had with her, she only talked about Nina. Like she was gonna fly here to see Nina, and Nina was coming in town. It was just like everything was about Nina. So
did you learn anything about Nina, kind of her background, if she was married, what was going on with her through Lisa?
yeah, she did tell me that Nina was married to a man named Bill. She did tell me that he was much older than her. She told me that the religion that he was in was like super strict. She mentioned that they always wore like this long, I guess it's like a long straight garment underneath their clothes.
And at some point during these discussions, did you just flat out ask her what was really going on there?
I did. After her not talking about Chuck, obviously it was all about her and Nina. So one day she came in and she told me that Nina was coming in town. And I was like, okay, so who you're talking about is Nina.
This so far has been 45 minutes of gossip. I don't understand how this is allowed in. It's pure gossip for the sole purpose of painting the defendant in a bad light.
Are y'all together? And she goes, well,
What,
yeah. And I was
what
like, yeah, but
opponent,
girl, you're not into
blah,
women.
blah, blah.
She goes, yeah, but Nina can give me everything that I've ever wanted.
And what did she mean by give me everything that I've ever wanted? How did you take that?
Well, I knew that Nina was an attorney. From what I knew, her and Bill had several homes, so I would kind of take it that.
Okay, quick overview. In October of 2020, Miss Marisela Botello went on vacation to Dallas, Texas, to visit an old boyfriend or friend. And they went out, had fun. He had too much to drink, vomited on himself, couldn't get into the apartment, so she went out again. On that outing, she met Chuck, a failed rapper, but a ladies' man. They were seen on CCTV, and then she disappeared. And for a couple of months, the Dallas police didn't give two shits on a straw about it. And but eventually they did once the case was actually handled to a proper cop. Then her remains was found 6 months later in March, I think, of 2021. And all of a sudden, they started to investigate properly. They found the CCTV, they found everything, and and 3 people were arrested. The defendant, the defendant's wife, and the defendant's boy toy, the failed rapper. The failed rapper was the main suspect for a good while until he pointed the finger on the defendant, Miss Dykes. And they were arrested, they bailed out, and the defendant and her wife fled to Cambodia. They were extradited back after a good while. And now we are up to the trial, where so far they have presented bone evidence which showed no trauma. None whatsoever. Zero actual trauma. In the opening statement, the prosecution, which was a good opening statement from the prosecution, that allegedly the defendant stabbed this Marisela Botello, maybe by mistake, because the defendant had banned her wife to sleep with her boyfriend. Yeah, it's one of these trials. So it might be mistaken identity or jealousy or anything, but we so far we don't know what actually happened in that apartment. All we know that the Marisela disappeared, her blood and DNA was found in the apartment, and then she resurfaced as skeletal remains 6 months later in a field about an hour away. So that's the trial so far. And this woman is the defendant's hairdresser. And she's been on the stand for close to an hour now talking about gossip. And my opinion about her testimony is this is for the sole reason to paint the defendant in a bad light. Ooh, she changed her hair. Ooh, she got a boy toy. Ooh, she got tattoos. So freaking what? It's a holiday in Cambodia. Da, 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 da. Holiday in Cambodia is a song by an 80s thrash band called Laz Rocket. I won't play that song. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Let's just move on.
They were probably well-to-do.
Did you know if Bill was still alive at that time?
I did.
Did you ever learn of his passing?
I did.
When did you learn of his passing?
In December 2019.
So when she first started talking about Nina, Bill was still alive.
He was.
And then you learned of his passing a couple months after she first started talking about Nina.
Yes.
And give you just a minute, Ms. De Leon. Thank you for your patience. What did you learn about his passing?
So on her visit in December, she and I were having our regular conversations. And at this point, it was kind of like her, Chuck, and Nina. You know, they kind of had this threesome kind of thing going on.
And this is from Lisa. You're not just surmising this.
No.
It's Lisa telling you this.
Yes.
And how does she kind of describe
Describe.
this relationship between the three of them?
What?
This is the defendant's hairdresser who has been on the stand for roughly 45 minutes talking about what they talked about. And since defendant is a party opponent, apparently it's allowed. So for 45 minutes, it's gossip, 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 gossip. I heard this, she said that.
You know, when we, going back to what I just referred to, the conversation that she and I had about her and Nina being a couple.
They were
So
fun.
when I asked her, I said, hey, I was like, well, so, but you're not into women. And when she replies, yeah, but she can give me everything I want. And I was like, well, so what about Chuck? I was like, you've not mentioned Chuck in quite some time. And she says, well, I told Nina Chuck's not going anywhere. So I kind of took it that.
So you kind of took that as
Yeah,
she still has a relationship.
They were all three, the defendant's wife, and boy toy, all suspects in this ending and removal of the body and hiding the body and everything. But it seems like one of the suspects, the boy toy, Shock, the failed rapper, was the first to try to pin the ending on somebody else. And here we are.
Relationship with Chuck, and she has a relationship with Nina, and that's kind of the information.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned that Nina, this is from Lisa, you know, practiced this fairly strict religion with her husband Bill. How did that change according to, and you talk about the dress, the long straight garments under her clothes and things like that. I guess how, based on what Lisa told you, how that kind of influenced Nina going forward?
So when you,
Objection, Your Honor, relevance. What relevance?
Her entire testimony is
You're talking about
completely irrelevant.
relevance. This, we talked about an opening statement, and as did defense, kind of opened the door to the nature of this relationship where the state had described it as a romantic between the three of them, and the defense had discussed that this was just Ms. Dykes investing in Chuck's rap career. And to lay
Bull crap. You had this in your opening statement. That is not opening the door to anything, in my opinion. Please, judge, put a stop to this bull crap. Please.
out.
It's
the state's
gossip
motive,
and gossip alone.
and
No evidentiary,
particularly for
no
Lisa,
evidentiary
we
value
have the
whatsoever.
relationship between all the parties.
Is he the attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Skip ahead, skip ahead, skip ahead, skip ahead, skip ahead. She's been on the stand for an hour, gossiping.
And told you about taking Nina shopping.
Yes,
And did she tell you what they went shopping for?
they would go to Victoria's Secret and buy things.
Things like lingerie?
Yes,
Sexy bras, underwear?
yes.
And did Lisa tell you that Nina had never had those types of things?
That's
Not
double
while she was
hearsay.
running Bill.
Did Lisa tell her to For frick's sake.
Now, in the beginning of 2020, that's kind of when the pandemic hit, were you still able to see Lisa as a client?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you still able to see her? How long was it before your actual salon was shut down?
So when COVID started, I guess they started talking about it like late February. And our industry was probably one of the last ones to be shut down. So I got a phone call from Lisa saying that she was really needing to get her hair done because she didn't know how long the pandemic was going to last, and she didn't want messed up hair.
Oh, defendant is not a small woman. You might see it later on. She is a good 6 foot tall. I mean, I can't. This opening the door for character witness, blah blah blah. It's gossip. It's all gossip. From a hairdresser.
From that time.
And were you
So-
able to get her in for that last appointment before you shut down?
Yes, she came to the salon and I did her hair.
And in that appointment, did she say much about what's going on with Chuck and Nina? Or was it discussion about it?
No, I mean, at the time, they, can I back up to December?
Oh,
Well, go ahead and finish answering that question and we can back up.
She had told me that she and Nina were planning on getting married.
the sound is from the court stream. I don't know who is breathing into a microphone, but it's not. I can't do anything about it.
She didn't know if they were going to have it up in the New York area where one of their homes were. She said that if they had it up there, she was going to fly me up there to do her hair for the wedding. But they weren't sure, flights and whatnot, if that was going to happen. There was a chance that they were going to have the wedding at Lisa's house in Mesquite.
Something like that.
And after that appointment, is that when kind of COVID shut your salon down?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you receive a call from Lisa about doing her hair?
I did.
And
She had called and asked me if I would go to her home to do her hair because she and Nina were going to get married. The wedding was going to be at her house in Mesquite. And so I basically, tried to follow protocol and asked her if she'd been only working from home, if she'd been going to the office. After she said she was solely working from home, I told her that I would go and do her hair. I mean, I actually had like other clients who.
What did I do? What have I said? I don't know. Totally like a Russian bot. They try to object, but the judge allows it. She's been on the stand for an hour. No, they not only they are wife rapper. I mean, as far I haven't seen any of this, but as far as I know, all three will testify in some capacity. But that's not the only witnesses. Apparently, having the defendant's hairdresser for an hour on the stand talking about gossip that can't be verified is important.
We're having wedding photos done during that time, and I obliged to do those people and those people only. So,
And this appointment took place in her home, is that correct?
It did.
Did you have the chance at that appointment to meet Mr. Beltran again?
Yes, I did.
And tell me about when you saw Mr. Beltran on that occasion.
So when I arrived to Lisa's house, so she answered the door, and I literally could smell this amazing aroma coming, from inside of her home. And so she opens the door, lets me in, and she's like, "Hey," she goes, "Come on to the kitchen. I want to hurry up and get dinner finished for Chuck. He'll be here in a little bit." She was like, "Have you eaten?" I was like, "Well, no, not really." I was like, "But give me whatever you're cooking. It smells amazing." So she had made fried catfish, and I grabbed a plate. I sat down, was eating. She and I chatted, and then the door opens, and Chuck and another gentleman walk in. She proceeds to hand them plates, and she's like getting their plates done. They sit down where I was, and I immediately was like very uncomfortable.
Okay, and were you just uncomfortable because you didn't know them? Why were you uncomfortable?
I remember Chuck, and of course Lisa reintroduced us to each other, and of course Chuck was like, he said something to the fact of the queen of hair. Yes, I do remember you, basically. And he was kind, yeah. The other gentleman really didn't say anything.
So it just was kind of awkward.
It was very awkward.
And at that point, you went into her room and you were going to do her hair there. Is that correct?
Yes, we were going to go into her bedroom and do her hair, and it's obviously where I'd done her makeup, the October before.
Okay, now let's stop you right there. You're on mute.
How is I still can't understand how this is even remotely relevant. Yeah, they had an unconventional relationship with, but so what?
At some point, Ms. DeLeon, did Ms. Dykes have you go into her closet to see her wedding dress?
So, yeah, after I put her bleach on her hair, we were just kind of chatting. She was like, "Hey," she goes, "you want to look at my wedding dress?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." So we go out of her bathroom, and to the right, there's a long, narrow closet. And so she goes in the closet, and I just kind of like leaned over, like in the doorway, just kind of watching her. It's kind of like this, leaning up against it. And I see her walk to the back. She pulls out two garments that were on the right side, and she turns around. She goes like this. She goes, "Well, which one do you like better?" And I kind of laughed. I said, "Why would I think that you would have a black dress?"
Okay, so she had a black dress for the wedding.
Yeah, she actually had two dresses, and she asked me which one I like best, and I said, "Well, I really like this one." I said, "But it's like so low cut." And she goes, "Yeah, I know. I'll probably pin it."
And when you were walking out of that closet, what did you see?
So as I turn around, like literally like straight across from me, when I turn around out of the closet, I see an altar, and it had this big statue thing that to me resembled like a Grim Reaper, and I completely like freaked out. I didn't want to like show how scared I was.
Again, sole reason is to paint the defendant in a bad light. This is so bad. This is so bad. I mean, whatever she had to say could have been said in 5 minutes. Yes, I was her hairdresser. Yes, she changed. Yes, I saw a wedding. But over an hour of this garbage?
But I just like froze when I saw it. And so, she bumps into me. She's like, "Kat, what are you doing?" And I'm like looking back at her, and I'm looking at this thing, and I don't know what to say. And
So what did you say?
And so I was like, she goes, "What's wrong?" And I
I
was
think
like, I
speaks
pointed
the
at her, I
half
was
thing.
like, "Are you into witchcraft?" And she goes, "Well, I dabbled in it." And I, just trying to get myself out of like not sounding scared or not wanting to say anything dumb. I just said, "Well, okay, girl, to each his own. just don't put a spell on me. I was like, come on, we need to like get your hair, shampooed out.
The fuck? Yeah, this is a telenovela. I mean, this has nothing remotely to do with the actual trial. Yes, we know they had an alternative lifestyle. Yes, she changed over the course of 4.5, 5 years with you as the hairdresser. So what?
And I just literally was like so afraid. I just wanted to get out of there as soon as I could. She'd never ever mentioned anything about this witchcrafty kind of thing ever in all the times that she and I had spoken.
How is this allowed in her talking about witchcraft? Seriously? Seriously? How is this? Jesus Christ, how is this allowed in? How is this allowed in? Even if she has witchcraft done, congratulations, First fucking Amendment. She's allowed to.
Okay.
It definitely had a profound effect on you. You were pretty scared.
Yes,
And was that the last time you ever went to her house?
it was.
This was still kind of during the restrictions of COVID. When did your kind of salon open back up?
So we were out of work a couple of months. As soon as we were able to open back up, she obviously called for an appointment. I got her in, and
Did she talk about Nina or Chuck during that appointment?
she did.
What did she tell you?
She basically mentioned, in part of our conversation, she told me that she and Nina had were in a conversation, and Nina had asked her what her favorite car was. And she replies, she goes, well, I know what my favorite car is, but I've never been able to afford it. And so she was like, so Nina ended up getting me my dream car.
And what was that dream car?
I was getting confused. Maserati?
A Maserati?
She told me it was black. She told me it had red seats. And she told me, she goes, yeah, I really like the car. She says, but it had red seats and I could not stand the red seats. So I told Nina that she needed to send the car back and have black seats put on it. And I was like, you did what? It's like, if someone gave me a Maserati, I mean, if it was like striped polka dot, I would be driving it. I wouldn't.
And so she tells me about Nina getting her a Maserati, and we're going to kind of, move through some of the other things a little more quickly. In June of 2020, did you have an appointment with Lisa again?
Yes, I did.
And was that the appointment where you met Nina?
That was the first time I met Nina, yes.
Okay, what was your impression of Nina? Was she outgoing, loud?
No, Nina, for her being an attorney, I thought that she would be like very outgoing. She was, to me, very introverted, didn't have much to say. That first visit that I had with her when I met Nina was very, very short. We were introduced to each other by Lisa, and she was kind of quiet. She basically told Lisa, she goes, hey, she goes, why don't you call me? She says, I'm just going to walk around the shops, and check things out. Just let me know when you're done and I'll come by and get you.
Okay, so she just seemed very quiet.
Yes.
Did Lisa tell you in June 2020 about plastic surgery that she was planning?
She did. She told me that Nina was paying for her to have plastic surgery. And I was very surprised because she had never ever talked about ever wanting anything like that. And, we have a lot of intimate conversations.
You're her hairdresser. She visits you maybe once a month, once a quarter. You're not her friend. Your opinion about why she does stuff doesn't matter, shouldn't matter. All right. A brief pause. Because as you might see, I have on the top of my YouTube chat and in the description below, you can find my PayPal. And you all know Gigi, my first and best moderator. She isn't here today because she has her reasons. Gigi became severely ill about just over a month ago, and she's still recovering. And that made her economy go down the drain. So what I'm doing this week during this trial coverage, anything that you put into my PayPal, I will transfer to her so she can have a decent Christmas and pay off some bills. So if you wouldn't mind, don't super chat me. Go through my PayPal if you have anything to spare to make sure that Gigi, at least in her recovery, can have a decent Christmas and pay off some of her medical bills. Because she really needs it. I'm good. My channel survives. But for now, if you can, and if you have the means, don't donate anything you can't, because don't fuck up your own economy for this. But if you can, please consider helping Gigi, my first and best moderator, to have pay off some of her bills. Because as you know, once your economy is fucked with illness, you can't work, bills get piled up, interest kicks in. So anything I can do to help her and you can do to help her really matters this Christmas. All right, let's get back to the trial, and thank you in advance.
So,
And then in July 2020, you had an appointment again, and then Nina showed up this time as well.
yes, this time Nina actually stayed. The way I described where my working area is, there's a chair that faces us where, if there's someone that's with a client of mine, they always have the option to sit right there where they can just sit. So yes, Nina did stay this time.
And after that particular appointment, was there a time that you had an appointment with Lisa where she came in very upset?
Yes.
And did she tell you what she was upset about?
Yes, that she came in on a Saturday morning. She told me that she got home from work Friday and that she caught Chuck and Nina in bed together. And when she was telling me this, she was like, I could just kill her. And I was like, wait, slow down a minute. I was like, you sound a little aggressive here. She goes, yeah.
What will happen is, at the end of the week, I will send over whatever gets donated through my PayPal this week. And I will show receipts on what came in and what I sent to her. So no secrets here. The reason why I do via me is because she has a PayPal, but it's in her actual name. And I don't want to dox her. So that is why through me to her. And I will show all the receipts. So thank you again.
She says, I cannot believe that I caught them in bed together. And I told her, I said, Lisa, you invited this. I was like, you have let this trio thing go on. Did you not think that it was going to happen? And, after that, I had not really.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much.
I never saw Lisa upset. She was always like, this particular day, she was very, very upset.
And
oh, wow. Thank you, Wendy. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
No.
I will make sure that every penny will be sent to Gigi.
Was it your understanding prior to that the three of them
Thank
were
you
all
so
in
much.
a physical relationship?
Pretty much.
Yeah, you're a gem, Wendy. A true gem.
You did her hair right before her. Were you able to do her hair before plastic surgery?
I did.
Okay. And then you understood that was kind of scheduled for early September, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you had an appointment with her on October 10th after the plastic surgery.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And on that day, so she had a facelift and the thigh surgery.
Yes.
Thigh lift, I believe. How was she moving around on October 10th?
She was moving around very slow that day that I saw her. She came in with baggy clothes, which is something that I've never really seen her in. I kind of took that maybe, because her body was like still in pain, maybe she had to wear, like loose clothes. But the whole time that I saw her on that day, she talked about the plastic surgery. She told me that she had an infection on one of her legs, and they had to put like a drainage bag there because her leg had gotten infected from the surgery.
You said she was moving slowly, but she was still able to walk in?
Yes.
She was able to move around?
Yes.
And that particular day, she asked for, something a little different.
Yeah, this is really interesting because just a few weeks after this, they testify she has a hard time moving, hard time walking. But yet the prosecution claims that she not only did the stabby on the victim, she aided and abetted in taking this poor girl and dump her somewhere else while she has she had an infection in her legs after plastic surgery. That's really interesting.
Here, showing you ma'am what's been marked States Exhibit 86. Do you recognize that photo?
I do.
Okay. And is it an accurate representation of her hair that?
Very much so.
Your Honor, State offers 86 for all purposes to enter into defense counsel.
No objection.
Right, States Exhibit 86 is admitted for all purposes.
And
Ooh,
this particular day,
she had purple
she
hair.
still has this side shave and the kind of pompadour.
Yes.
But she went with full on pink.
Again, how
did,
is
and
this
I thought
even
that was very
remotely
unusual.
relevant to this trial?
I didn't question her this time for some reason. But looking back at the picture now, I'm like, why would she even wear pink if she's like the type of job that she has on?
Okay, that's
None of your
Yes.
fucking
Now-
business.
Did she make an additional appointment after that?
She did.
And when was that appointment?
So I typically go on vacation the week after Thanksgiving every year. So I did do that. The week after that, I was booked with clients, so I was not able to get her until the following Saturday. So
And
I'm not sure what
did
that
she
is.
ever call in? I'm sorry, I'll get to that in just a minute. Did she ever call in and cancel that appointment?
She didn't.
She just no-showed?
She just no-showed, which is something that she had never ever done. The one thing about Lisa is she was definitely on top of her hair. I mean, I saw her faithfully. She never ever missed an appointment for anything. So at the time, we pretty much already knew that Marisela was missing.
Okay, you'd seen the article,
I did see the article.
and you'd seen the information about Mr. Beltran being a person of interest.
Yes, ma'am.
And you kind of seen in the news that maybe they were looking for Ms. Dykes, or had you seen that?
I had not, kind of at the same time. So I have another client, her name is Jenny.
Okay. And I don't want you to talk about anything that Jenny talked about,
All right.
but thank you, I'm sorry. I guess the bottom line is it didn't shock you necessarily that she no-showed in December.
Well, I was really hoping that she was going to show up for that.
Objection, Your Honor, to the narrative. It's a yes or no.
Sustained. Were you surprised that she no-showed in December?
I was not surprised.
And were you hoping that she would?
I was very much hoping that she would.
Now, we talked about December 10th being.
I'm
the
hoping
last-
all of them. Seriously,
last
this witness-
appointment with you.
Yes, ma'am.
oh, why are you crying? For frick's sake. Thank you, Irish. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
When
Thank you,
she
thank
spoke
you,
about
thank
Nina
you.
and her marriage,
Oh,
did she tell
thank
you
you. Oh, wow.
whether or not she was interested in Nina sexually.
Thank you so much for your generosity. And for those people who donated yesterday, a huge thank you. When I do the receipts in the end of the week, you will all see what came in and what I sent to Gigi. But I'm sure I can't speak for her, but as she said yesterday in the chat when she was here, she's eternally grateful. Eternally grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm amazed by y'all's generosity. Thank you so much.
No, she was not. There was a visit that she came in, and Nina was coming in town. And she was telling me that
Objection, Your Honor, ask and answer.
I'll overrule that objection.
What did she tell you?
she basically told me that Nina was coming in town, and she just had like this disgusted look on her face. She goes, "That just means I'm gonna have to sleep with her."
And did she have those same conversations about Chuck? Did she talk about whether she had sexual relations with Chuck and whether or not she enjoyed that? Is that a conversation you had?
From what, I mean, the conversations that we did have that, that took place about Chuck, yeah, she always enjoyed that.
Now, Ms. DeLeon, I'm showing you.
Hey, Jingles joined us.
Exhibit 87.
Say hello to the audience, Jingles. Hello, hello. Jarl Jingles.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay.
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 To admit State 87 for all purposes, intermediate offense.
Mr. Jingles is not in a petting mood because he's tenderizing my legs again.
You and I sat down and talked in your home for quite some time. This is not a situation you really wanted to be involved in, is it?
Not at all.
And something you never really thought you would ever have to be involved in.
It's never happened to me in my career.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, Mrs. DeLeon, Valerie Baston, and
Oh. Finally, an end of this pure garbage gossip lady. Now it's cross-examination. I have no idea what they will ask or anything, but sweet Jingles, what the actual F. What a complete waste of time. Complete waste of time. But yeah, here we go. Cross-examination of the hairdresser, who has been on the stand for 1 hour and 20 minutes with pure garbage testimony.
I'm one of the attorneys representing Lisa Dykes. So I'm going to ask you some questions and just follow up on what you were talking about with Mrs. Dykes. So, Lisa started coming to see you around 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, was Lisa very overweight?
She was.
And during the period of time that she was coming to you as her hairdresser and colorist, did Lisa lose a substantial amount of weight?
She lost someone.
About 60 pounds. Yes or no?
Yes.
Enough weight where you could tell there was a real difference.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier that Lisa would come in and talk about her kids, about Chelsea, her daughter who lived with her. Chelsea was an adult at this time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's really not something horrible or surprise that an adult parent would want their adult child to live their life, so the adult parent could do some things too as well.
Can I answer that? The way I saw it, Chelsea was very dependent on Lisa.
But Chelsea was an adult. It wasn't like she was a teenager or a middle school student or an elementary student. She was well into her 20s or even early 30s, yes or no?
Yes.
And being a responsible parent, a good parent, you want your children to be able to function in this world without being completely dependent on you.
I would hope so.
So Chelsea moving back to Florida, where she worked for the Disney company before, where she had friends, that wasn't really a big shock or surprise.
It was to me.
But that's
Oh, bullshit.
But once again,
yes or no? That's where your
Yes.
understanding, that's where Chelsea's friends were.
Yes,
That she worked for the Disney company.
back in the day, yes.
Now, as far as Lisa wanting to change her hairstyle from going to a longer hairstyle to a shorter hairstyle, Lisa did a bunch of styles with you. She did a pixie cut. Do you remember doing pixie cuts for her?
Not really.
Oh, really? All of a sudden you have memory loss. Really? Memory loss all of a sudden, Miss Hairdresser.
But as a woman gets older, it's no surprise that sometimes she may want to do something different with her hair.
Most women would.
Okay. So Lisa wanting to change up her hair, that wasn't really a big shock.
That was a very big shock.
But Lisa had just lost a lot of weight. Maybe she wanted a new look. Is that possible?
Yes.
And then you were
You
talking about
lie.
her
Okay,
wanting to dye her
I'm going to say it out loud. I think this witness, most of what she said is pure bullshit. Her opinions, everything. I'm not even sure she remembers the actual conversations. I think she's making things up. In my opinion, she's on the stand under oath making shit up. In my opinion.
in October. Isn't October Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
I have no idea, but I would not think that that would have anything to do with it.
None of. Why wouldn't Breast Cancer Awareness Month? On the month she colors her hair pink. The only reason she's there is because she wants to paint. Now, from the start, I thought this was because the prosecution wanted to paint her in a bad light. Now I'm starting to believe she wants to put her in a bad light because she doesn't approve of the lifestyle. Yeah, I'm going to lose my shit today.
A lot of people dye their hair pink and like to wear pink. Yes or no?
Yes.
Especially in October. And I know you said you're not aware that it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it is.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm not aware of it. I've just never heard Lisa talk about, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay. Now, about Lisa showing you her tattoos, was she the one always showing them off to you, or did you ask to see her tattoos?
They were always in plain sight.
And you said when she would come to get her hair done, she would wear like a t-shirt and jeans.
Yes.
Okay. And that's pretty typical when getting your hair done. If you're getting your hair colored and things like that, you don't want to mess up your clothes. You're not going to come to a hair salon wearing afterthought or cocktail attire or anything like that. You're going to wear something pretty basic. Yes.
Correct. And most of my clients would always wear a smock over it so they wouldn't get anything on their clothes.
And but Lisa did talk to you about investing in Charles's rap career.
She did.
And so they had a relationship, but she also viewed it as an investment.
I think she did that to
Yes,
please
ma'am.
him.
Yes, no. It was an investment.
I suppose, yes.
Now, you were talking about the Halloween party that her law firm was having. This would have been in October of 2019. And the image that she wanted, isn't that called La Catrina?
I'm not sure
You're not
what it's
sure?
called.
Okay. And you weren't the one who designed the face makeup,
She sent me a picture through text message and basically wanted me to mock that. And that's what I was going off of.
but you're the one who ultimately did the design on her face.
I was.
So that creation was your creation.
It was not my creation. I was going off of the picture that she showed me.
You did the makeup.
Now, you also talked about Lisa talking to you about Nina. right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that Lisa told you, oh, she can give me everything I want. Wasn't Lisa also talking about just companionship?
She was talking financial.
But wasn't she also talking about companionship?
No.
So, but she testified that you knew about Lisa's past relationships, yes?
I knew I wouldn't even call them relationships. The only one that she really talked about before that was her husband that she had in Florida.
Well, on direct, she said that that Chuck didn't seem like the type of person she would date based off of her past boyfriends or her past relationships. No,
I'm not really sure what you mean by that.
so in your mind, it wasn't for companionship as well.
Who, Chuck?
I'm sorry, Nina and Lisa's relationship. There may have been a financial aspect to it, but it was also for a companionship because they were friends.
They were friends, but Lisa was not into women from what she had ever talked to me about. That was the first time that she.
Well, let me ask you this.
You're her fucking hairdresser! Why? You're her hairdresser? Not her therapist? Not her friend. You're her hairdresser. She doesn't have to tell you that she is bisexual or gay or anything. Because you're a hairdresser. That's it.
Because how much
Whoever has her as their hairdresser, run.
Crazy that Lisa could get a lot in with you and share things with you.
There were a lot of intimate stories that Lisa told me.
Now, this altar that you said you saw in her house, in her closet, are you sure this wasn't in Chuck's room?
No, I knew where Chuck's room was. We were in Lisa's room.
And you said it was an altar, but a lot of people have altars in their homes, or something set like with maybe Our Lady of Guadalupe or something like that.
This wasn't a this.
That's not what I'm asking you. A lot of people have altars in their homes, yes or no?
I've never really. No, I mean.
Have you ever been in someone's home where they had an altar and there was a picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe?
Not really.
Not really. I mean,
I'm handing to you what's marked as defendant's exhibit number 3. Do you recognize the person in that picture?
Chuck.
Okay. Chuck, Charles Beltran?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'm tendering to state, no objection, the box to have this admitted into evidence, Your Honor.
All right, defendant's exhibit number 3 is admitted for all purposes.
yep, that's Chuck.
Now, this is how Chuck looked when you met him.
It is.
And you met him, what, 2 or 3 times?
Twice.
And he had this appearance both times you met him?
Yes.
And this made you a little uncomfortable, did it not, Mrs. De Leon?
Yes, mainly because she had never really told me what Chuck looked like. So yeah, it kind of caught me off guard.
And it surprised you that she would be dealing with a younger man,
Yes.
who was all tatted up and in the rap, in the music business, or trying to get into the music business.
Correct.
According to the prosecution, Marisela was on top of him when she was ended, and he fell asleep during the act. Got woken up by the stabby, according to him. Yeah, great guy. Falling asleep mid coitus. Sure.
Now, you testified about coming over to Lisa's a catfish dinner,
Yes,
and Chuck came in while you were there with another man. Is that
Yes.
correct? And why did it make you so uncomfortable, Chuck, with this other man?
well, number one, I thought it was just gonna be Lisa and I, but it was just the way they both looked. I'm not used to being around like,
Did you think Chuck was flirting with you?
not at all.
Did Chuck really say much to you?
He basically just said that he remembered who I was.
Did the other guy flirt with you or try to talk to
No,
I'm sure they have, but in my opinion, from a legal standpoint, zero value. I mean, we don't know because of everything and how she didn't approve of the new lifestyle of the defendant, that she's just making shit up. We don't know. And in my opinion, I don't trust her to wash my hair. Definitely not as a witness. I don't trust her.
Did you think it was unusual that this other man said nothing to you at all? Not even a small conversation?
I don't know why he would.
Did he even say hello or introduce himself to you?
Not that I recall.
And generally, when you come in somewhere, you do say hello to people, you introduce yourself, even if you're not gonna.
Okay, we have a few minutes, then it.
Correct.
We have a few more minutes, then it's Jody Day. As every Tuesday, me and Dave will stream a part of the Jody Aris trial. And you need to watch that, because if you think this is strange, there's a whole other kind of crazy in the Jody Aris trial. Whole other type of crazy. But let's see how long we can go before I will get you all over there.
Now, Mrs. Daniel, let me ask you, because you made a big deal about Lisa seeing a younger person. Do you have an issue with May December relationships if it's a woman who is more seasoned?
Can you just repeat that?
Well, you kind of made a big deal in your direct testimony about Lisa dating a younger man. Like it bothered you. That was the impression that you got. And do you have an issue with women dating younger men when older men date younger women all the time?
I don't have an issue with it at all. It was just the fact that that he was literally like half her age, and
So you did have something.
I just did not think that she would ever end up with a guy that young.
Is it fair to say this is still younger, probably a more conservative person?
Very much so.
And you do remember that Lisa had a near-death experience, correct? Involving her aortic.
I don't recall.
You don't remember that?
I don't recall.
I don't believe you.
And now going to the plastic surgery that took.
So here's the thing. You claim she told you everything, but all of a sudden, with a near-death experience, I have no recollection of that. I don't know. Don't trust this woman at all.
In September. You saw her in October.
Yes, ma'am.
And she came in, you said wearing baggy clothes.
Yes.
And you said that she was moving, but she was moving very slowly.
She was.
So she wasn't the spry person that you normally encounter.
No.
And she did tell you she had like a major infection with this.
She did.
Did she also mention to you that she had at least one open wound on her thighs?
On her leg. She never said that it was an open wound. She just said that she had an infection and that she had a drainage bag.
Okay.
Yes.
Attached.
Yes, ma'am. I never saw it though.
But she wasn't wearing jeans, she was wearing something pretty bad.
They were baggy.
Okay.
I can't recall it, but I can't recall if they were jeans or sweats. It was just baggy because I never really saw her like in baggy clothes. So
Pass the witness, Your Honor. Can you read the record? No, Your Honor. May this witness be found excused? Yes, Your Honor.
Holy crap, an hour and a half of pure garbage, in my opinion. An hour and a half with the hairdresser. I told you yesterday, this case is strange. And the trial is even more strange. Oh, thank you, Excomer, for your 50 Norwegian krona. Why this trial about she who is dead and not who made her dead? So far, the prosecution in a day and a half have produced nothing I can see so far that speaks to this particular defendant being the active ender. Nothing. All right, I will be sending you off to the Yodi stream. It will begin in a minute. I will return tomorrow with a full stream because after Yodi, I am meeting with girlfriend. We are going out to Christmas dinner. So no more streams today after Yodi stream. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for the donations to DG. I will make sure she gets it by the end of the week so she can have a decent Christmas and pay off some bills. And I will show receipts for everything. All right. I will start that stream and send you all over. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. See you in a bit. And now that is done, and this stream will end. Thank you so much. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.